I'm 70 now. I think that's a good age to write a play. Refugee matters, refugees matter. I'll get a couple of friends of mine, actors, one to play the worker and one to play the volunteer. I used to be a worker, paid. Now I'm a volunteer, unpaid. When you volunteer, you don't have the responsibility, but I feel the responsibility. When you volunteer, you don't have to do what's needed, but I do feel I do have to do what's needed. I want to. Refugee Matters will be based on messages that pass between the worker and the volunteer. Emails, text messages, WhatsApps, phone calls. A lot of messages. But the main message will be, refugees matter. They matter a lot. Refugees matter a lot to me. So here we go. England. I've just moved here. I'm retired now, and I want to help with refugees. It used to be my work. What can I do to help at your refugee centre?
Well, your town has agreed to help resettle some families. There are a few empty houses to look at to see if they're suitable. Can you go and check? Most are fine. Some are uninhabitable. Some offers are genuine and from the heart, and some are from people wanting to rent out damp and unsuitable properties.
The houses I checked are great. I think everything's ready. All the white goods, some furniture, nice curtains, and some hand-stitched bed covers from local women who want the families to have something made especially for them, with care and love. There are some groceries, toiletries and toys, and sewing kits, all given with love. We're waiting anxiously for the families to arrive.
They're coming. We're at the airport now, waiting. Oh, here they are. They've come from camps, so they've only got a suitcase each. Such a journey. They've waited and waited so long to come to this safe place. Can you take another couple of the English class in your town? The college teacher is working hard to get them all in classes, but there's a lot of bureaucracy. They're trying really hard. She knows they're desperate to learn English so that they can start work and live a normal life. The people coming under the resettlement scheme are so much better treated than asylum seekers. They can't work until their claim has been accepted, which can take years.
I've now got about a dozen befrienders for each family. They go in to teach English, help with forms, answer questions. Some help with transport. We don't have the food they need here, so we take them to the nearby city. The befrienders are wonderful. They know refugees matter. We have to be careful about people volunteering for the wrong reasons. Those who are overly curious about the suffering of others and ask intrusive questions, or those who think it looks good to be helping refugees.
Lots of people want to help. We've had another Harvest Festival delivery, lots of tins and toiletries. Can you come and help stack it all in the cellar? And can you take a new person down to the cellar to get food when you come in tomorrow? Her claim has been refused again. The solicitor got her name and language wrong again. So that's another appeal. She has no food. Just give her all the food she can carry and a pack of nappies too.
I helped to take her shopping to her house. It's very Spartan, very little furniture, very clean, few possessions. She said that when she started her journey, she had a backpack, but it got lost or stolen on the way. She also got lost and stolen on the way. She got used and abused on the way, and she got used and abused here, in this country. Now she's being helped by the women's worker at the centre. The women's worker's salary is partly reliant on donations, so it's precarious.
We made a lot of money at the fundraiser. That will come in very useful. We want to buy each refugee child a ball. And we need money for laptops for them to do their schoolwork. Every time the town band plays a benefit gig, there's lots of money raised. They must be good people that have good hearts. Please, thank them very much. Can you accompany her to the police station to sign on tomorrow?
We all hate this signing on. The immigration staff take over the police station on a Monday, and totally randomly, our refugees have to, or might have to, or might not have to, go there to sign. This stops them leaving, keeps them in one place. They can't go and stay with family or friends anywhere else. I'd got to the centre early to meet up with her. She was sitting in our waiting area, crying. I put my arm around her. We walked down slowly to the police station. She's crying softly all the way there. We wait in the long queue. It's raining. I see many people I know from the centre. I hate this. It's so hostile. I wish it were different. We look around for the white van. If it's here, we all know someone will be taken today, taken to a detention centre, or even a flight back to the country they fled from. Today, we can't see the van. I breathe more freely. We get to the desk. It's the nice, younger border control person. Oh, he looks uncomfortable. What a terrible job. He asks her to sign. She does. She doesn't get taken aside for a special interview. We leave. She cries with relief. So do I a bit. We walk back up the street in the rain, back to the centre where it's warm and caring. We have a cup of tea and a biscuit together. She tells me that every time she goes to sign on at the police station, she puts clean underwear and a toothbrush in her bag, in case she is taken away. She also writes the refugee centre's phone number on her arm. I hate this system. It's totally random, totally demeaning, it's totally hostile. I write another letter to our MP. Many of us write a lot of letters to our MP asking for a more humane approach. But she still voted for the very anti-refugee nationality and borders bill. The MP we had before was very supportive to refugees, and those in our district greatly appreciated his interest and help.
Oh, can you take this guy to show his papers to the office in the big city? It's a long way away. He's very vulnerable. He won't manage public transport.
Yes, of course we can. We go to pick him up. He's not ready. He invites me into his shared room, a very small room. He's put his mattress on the floor under his bed. That's where he feels safer, he says. He has no possessions. Everything was left in his home country, backpack lost or stolen on the way. We start the long journey. As we go past lorries, I notice that he's shivery, furrowed brow, anxious. I ask if he's all right, and he says, yes, he's okay. But he remembers the lorry he was in. He was in a cold lorry, he said. That means that he was in a refrigerated lorry. He was very, very lucky to get out so soon. He was dumped by the lorry driver onto the nearby motorway. Sometimes the lorry drivers are kind people who help refugees get across. Often they don't know, and when they find a refugee in their lorry, they panic and try to get rid of them as soon as possible. The local police picked him up and brought him to our refugee centre. He has terrible memories of his journey here. We go on with our long drive. We stop at a small country town to have a break and to have a meal. He's black. It's mostly a white place. I notice people staring at him. A lot of our refugees are black. There's so much racism in this country. Our rural town has started a group against racism, which is great. We need it. We finally get to the Home Office Centre. His interview takes about 3 minutes. He just has to show his papers. That's it. But he had to go in person. He couldn't do it online or on video. We come back. We have a nice meal in our hometown, and I tell him that I'll see him next week.
Sorry to have to tell you this. He's disappeared. We don't know where he is. He didn't come to the centre. He didn't go to Asylum last Monday.
We went round to his room. He's gone. I'm so sad, so desperately sad to hear of his disappearance. I'm not surprised. He was expecting his claim to be turned down again. I could see that he's lost hope. There are so few good lawyers, and it's hard to get legal aid. It's such a terrible system. He's so young. He's so lovely. I was awake all last night thinking about him and wishing him well. I just hope he's somewhere safe and using his church connections. My heart hurts. I've been given some lovely material and lots of different cottons and threads for the sewing room. I'll bring them in next week. I've also got quite a lot of money from the talk that we gave on Sunday. People are so kind.
Well, it is great getting tins and toiletries and those sort of things, but it is money that's really useful and welcome. Oh, now you're here, can you nip out really quickly to get him a change of clothes? His are really filthy. He's just arrived. He's obviously worn his clothes for a very long time. He's just told us that he came over under a lorry, just tucked in between the wheels in such a small space. He looks really young, 13 maybe, poor kid. He's terrified. Doesn't speak English. We'll get some of our lads from different countries to find out what language he responds to. Spanish. What have we got we might eat? Biscuits? Actually, when you go to get some clothes, could you get some bread?
I'm going to give another talk. It's good. We spend a lot of time choosing what to say, and when we give a talk about refugees, we want to give facts and figures and to correct inaccurate information. A lot of lies and myths are peddled by the media. I want to tell people about the individuals we meet. We have to take care to anonymise them and alter their stories a bit, change the country and the gender. We need to protect our asylum seekers. We want to encourage people to rise up against racism and protest against the hostile environment for asylum seekers and refugees. So we talk about government policy and direct them to campaigning organisations.
So how did the talk go?
It went okay. Quite a lot of people there. Mostly people are really friendly, wanting to help. One man had come to make trouble. He said,
I don't agree with refugees coming to our country. We need to look after our own.
He was hushed by the others because he was speaking when I was speaking. He looked really angry. I was very pleased when he left. I'm not quite sure why he came. It reminded me of when we were campaigning in our high street for better treatment for refugees. One man came up to me and said,
I wish that all refugees would die in the boats they came in. I wish that they would all drown.
That's very upsetting to hear, I said. Oh, he started on a big rant and looked antagonistic. I could could see that it really wasn't the time to have a rational discussion with him, so I walked away. Mostly, people in our town are very supportive of refugees. They like to give money. Quite a lot of them help the families that have settled here. It's always best to focus on the good. New Zealand.
So how are you getting on out there on the other side of the world? Hard to believe you're so far away. It's great you're still managing to teach our people English online though, that's brilliant. Let me know how your visit to the refugee reception centre goes.
We're having a great time, thank you. It's wonderful seeing our family here. Yes, we were lucky enough to get a visit to the refugee reception centre over here. We were helped by various organisations and political contacts. Absolutely wonderful, couldn't fault it. But, as you know, the difficulty about this country is they don't take many refugees. So we're involving ourselves in the campaign to increase the quota. We've given a few talks, just to say that we think it's good to take as many refugees as possible, even if that means their high-quality resettlement programme has to be reduced.
I'm really interested to know how you got on with the visit to the mosque. I guess that must have been very difficult.
Yes, it was a difficult but wonderful visit. This was the mosque where the mass shooting of the Muslims at prayer happened. We wanted to quietly pay our respects, offering condolences from ourselves and the Muslim community back at home, who had asked us to do so. We stood there in that freshly painted and peaceful prayer room. We were approached by two older men who wanted to tell us of their experiences on that dreadful day. They told their stories with perfect dignity and recall. Both men had done what they could to save their brothers. Oh, it was very hard and very poignant, in particular to hear one of the men talk of how he had saved a newly arrived refugee boy by telling him to play dead after his brother and father had been killed. And we knew that this was a family that we had met in the centre on a previous visit. We'd given them some special Arabic coffee all the way from our town. They had told us how excited they were to be going to the city where the mosque is to start a new life. We had some moments in silence. We were so struck by the men's calm acceptance of what had happened. They had instantly realised what was going on that fatal day. Their first thoughts and actions were to save the lives of others. They spoke of their faith and belief. One of the men saying that you die when it's your time, although of course they did not think the perpetrator had the right to end people's lives. They both said they were happy that he didn't die, because they didn't want any more deaths. And both said they had no hatred for him. He had killed 51 people. Both men emphasized to us how well they were supported by the whole community. They loved this country, where they found sanctuary, and said they loved the special woman Prime Minister who'd shown such care, and also loved that they'd had worldwide support. We found that visit very moving, humbling, and inspirational. Even in extreme situations, it seems that humans have the capacity to respond, not react.
The family you've met have been one of the families who suffered so much. It's very, very sad. I was thinking of Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor, who said the last of human freedoms is the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Sounds very true of the two men you spoke of. As you say, extraordinary people can be so, what's the word? Generous, kind, resilient, extraordinary. What a lot it says about the best of humankind.
We're coming back on Tuesday next week. So the week after we'll be coming to the centre. We're ready to do whatever is needed. Happy to teach English, happy to do the welcoming, happy to sort the tins of food. Not exactly happy, but very willing to accompany anyone who needs to go to the police station to sign on with immigration officers.
Good to have you back. The special meal events are starting up again. Can you come? They're such good occasions. Food cooked by refugees, for refugees, and of course, us. They're lucky workers and friends. They find it so empowering. They've got their heads around special dietary needs like vegetarians, vegans, whatever. They're such good cooks. Such nice occasions, aren't they? Everybody happy together.
Oh yes, we'll definitely be coming. We're really looking forward to it. We'll be bringing some local refugee families between us. The volunteers will drive them. They're looking forward to it too. So nice that they can see people from their own country. Wonderful that some of them already know each other from home. Great that they've ended up here together.
We've got somebody who needs accompanying to the police station. He's a young boy. He has some learning difficulties. Unbelievably, he's been assessed as an adult in age. See what you think. He's in one of the shared houses. He's due to sign on at 9. You might have to go in and wake him up. He's very distressed.
I go out of the centre to the road where there are several shared houses and knock on the door. No answer. I knock on the door again. No answer. By third time, I knock really loudly. One of the guys comes to the door. I tell him that I've come to see the young boy. He shows me inside. It's very basic. I go upstairs and knock on his door, loudly. You need to get up. You need to come with me to the police station. Okay, he says. I go back down and wait for him. He looks about 13 or 14, I would say. And he's been placed in a house with 3 grown men. I try to explain. You have to go to the police station. You're not in any trouble. You just need to sign your name. He doesn't understand. I'm not surprised. We get to the police station. We wait in the queue. He sees 1 or 2 friends who speak his language. I ask them to explain to him why he has to come here every Monday from now on. They explain, and he looks really worried and anxious. We get to the desk. It's the very unfriendly border control worker. He just barks at him.
Sign here.
He makes his mark. We leave. Oh, he looks relieved. I am very relieved. I say, come on, let's go to the centre. Let's go and have some tea. So that's what we do. The next time I take this boy to the signing on at the police station, he realises that he shouldn't be in the house at all. He's 13. He's a young boy. He has some learning disabilities. He should be with his new friends, with one of our wonderful foster families, and going to school like them. The guys he shares the house with are very kind to him. The accommodation is very inappropriate. He can't cook. He can't look after himself. We've learnt his very difficult story. In his country, the men in his family have either died or are fighting. Because he's young, and also because he's got learning disabilities, he told us the bad people wanted to use him as a suicide bomber. They wanted to sew him into a vest with explosives in and send him off somewhere and blow him up together with a lot of people. That's what they planned. He understood that all right. So did his mum. So what she did, I'm sure with all the love in her heart, was to push him out of his home, get him out of their country, pay people to accompany him. We haven't heard all the details of his journey yet, just a few. He was abused. On his way, he lost the backpack that his mum had packed for him. Oh, got it stolen. He got waylaid in 1 or 2 countries. A terrible story. 13 years old. He just looks so upset a lot of the time. But he's come to trust our centre. He's come to trust the workers there. We can get a smile out of him now. The last time I took him to the police station, it was a rainy day. It was an early appointment. He was angry on the way. He was cold. He was frightened in case he got taken away. A police car came alongside where we were, stopped by the traffic lights, and I had to stop him trying to kick the police car. I tried to explain, they're not the same police. They're different people from those who ask you to sign on. Some police are nice and will help you. He didn't understand. How could he understand? How can anyone understand? It's heartbreaking. My heart breaks over this young boy. Young boys are often assessed in this country as being older than they really are. I think it's an inhumane money-saving practice.
There's someone in the reception area who's been waiting to see you. I think she's someone you'll be happy to see.
She is familiar to me, but I'm not sure who she is until she says her name. I can't believe it. She's the woman who sobbed all the way to the police station. Why, she looks wonderful. She has got her papers now and got a job and is very happy. Oh, my heart is full. We embrace each other.
I just had a meeting with our foster carers. Extraordinary people. Very warm, very loving, very concerned. And it's quite obvious that they love the boys they take in. Several of them have 2 or 3. It's interesting that they say they really, really like having them. The boys are respectful, they behave well, they go to school, they love school, they want to do well at school. But of course they're also traumatised. So often they don't sleep well. They scream out at night. But the foster carers know what to say. They know how to cope. They know how to give reassurance. And if there are several boys in the same household, they all support each other. They're like brothers. That's what they tell us. They've found brothers here.
There are some very, very good people in this city who are kind to refugees and who really want to give them a warm welcome and look after them. And that's what I really need to focus on. When I see the news, when I hear what our very uncaring government are doing and what some of the press report on, I get angry. I get sad, upset. I get furious. We're a rich country. We need to share our wealth. People come here for all sorts of reasons, often fleeing terrible wars. Climate change is making the world a very difficult place. So much poverty. People are fleeing persecution because of their religion, their race, their sexuality, their gender. They hope to find a safe place here. And sometimes they do find a safe space. But often, they don't. Sometimes they're so scared when they get here, they simply disappear onto the streets. They go into sex work, or get exploited for cheap labour, or labour that's not paid for at all. And then, sometimes, the police do a sweep in our area and bring them to the centre, and they tell us their terrible stories. Their stories of difficult journeys to this country, to this city, and then the difficult story of how they've been preyed on and abused here.
The woman you pick her up I'm glad she trusted you enough to tell you about her torture and her rape. I guess because that was your experience.
It was my experience. Often harrowing experience. But it's useful. Now I'm a volunteer. I'm not sure how to end this play. Shall I do a happy ending or a sad ending? Well, it's my play. I shall do both. The sad bits first. I live in a country that has now decided to send as many asylum seekers as possible to another country, far away. It's a very, very unsafe place. Some asylum seekers went on hunger strike to protest about this, and our government told them that if they didn't start eating, they would be sent to that country sooner. I live in a country that doesn't let asylum seekers work whilst they're waiting for their claim. If the asylum seekers want to work, they'll do anything. Some are highly trained, very skilled. Nurses, for example, or doctors, skills that we desperately need in this country. It doesn't make any difference. They're put into unsuitable accommodation. They have to live on £47 a week. Or worse, they're put into even more unsatisfactory, temporary accommodation, where they can't cook their own food. They're given their meals, unfamiliar food they don't choose. They also get their clothes washed, but they have to wait days for the clothes to come back, so what are they supposed to wear? And in this arrangement, the money is reduced to £9.58p a week. Some have been in these hotel rooms for months on end. We've got families sharing one room, a mum and a dad with 2 or 3 children, sharing one room in our country, in a city just a little way from here. That's very sad, and it's very wrong. I still don't know where the boy is who fled to the big city. I hope he's alive and okay. I hope he got picked up and helped by members of his church. There are so many who just disappear. Many people at the centre don't get their initial claims through. Their story wasn't properly retold, or the forms not filled in properly. They disappear. We don't know where they are. It's desperately sad and desperately shameful. But I think I'll end with a happy ending. Something good that happened in our area is that we had the very tall refugee puppet visit our nearby town. She's called Little Amal. She'd been walking slowly across a whole continent and our country. We saw her a couple of years ago and we were very moved. She's a very tall puppet, but it's totally believable that she's a little girl, a little refugee girl. For that day in the nearby town, we all celebrated refugees, showing a big welcome to the little girl refugee puppet. The town was full of people who wanted to welcome refugees and look after them. There was lots of fun, lots of music. We took lots of our hotel-dwelling asylum seekers. We all had such a good day, paid for by donations from people coming to see this play. The workers at the refugee centre are my heroes. They are all so dedicated and hard-working. They really care, and it's heartwarming to go into the centre. Today, I picked up more homemade cakes for our English group. The woman who makes them with love. She always says she's sorry she can't do more to help. I tell her that the refugees who come to our English class love the cakes and appreciate that she cares enough about them to bake cakes every week. Some of the children made her a card which they all signed to say thank you. The families who came to live in our town have mostly stayed. They like it here. We like having them here. They are good, kind people. They're very hospitable. They're wonderful cooks. They speak great English now, so we can have a laugh and a joke. We have lovely get-togethers where we share food and conversation. We play games and marvel at the babies that were born here over the last few years. We all wish the very best for these babies and children. We hope they will have good lives. We hope peace will prevail. We know love prevails in the end. Somehow or other, love always wins out. Doesn't it?